The ancient radiator clanked and sputtered, giving barely enough heat to keep the twins from shivering. Outside, the snow had fallen steadily for 6 hours, ever since James had walked out into the gathering storm, promising to reach the ranger station 5 miles down the mountain. "I'll be back in 2 hours, Max," he'd said, kissing my forehead. "Just keep the babies warm, Sophie." That was 12 hours ago. Now, as I paced the cabin's creaking floorboards with Emma in my arms while Ethan finally slept in the portable crib, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. Our phones had no service. We'd known that when we rented the cabin for what James called a spontaneous winter getaway. The landline was dead, probably because of the storm. The emergency radio I found in a drawer only produced static. "Your daddy's fine," I whispered to Emma, that my gut screamed otherwise. "He's probably waiting out the storm somewhere safe." But if that were true, why had he insisted on going alone? Why had he taken the emergency kit from the car, leaving us with just a few diapers and half a can of formula? And why had he been so adamant about this trip, even after I'd mentioned the weather warnings? The answers came with a knock at the door. At first I thought it was James, but when I peered through the frost-covered window, I saw a woman's figure instead, her dark coat dusted with snow. "Sophie Miller?" she called, her voice barely audible against the howling wind. "I'm Diana Reynolds, Michael Reynolds' wife. Please, I need to talk to you about James." Michael Reynolds, James's business partner, the man who'd helped him build Reynolds Miller Insurance from a small agency into a regional powerhouse. The man who supposedly died in a hiking accident 3 weeks ago. With Emma clutched to my chest, I opened the door. Diana stumbled in, bringing a blast of cold air that made both babies start crying. She was younger than I'd expected, maybe in her early 30s, with sharp features that suggested she rarely missed important details. "Thank God you're still alive," she said, brushing snow from her hair. "Where's James?" "He went for help. Our car broke down." I started to explain, but Diana was already shaking her head. "Your car didn't break down, Sophie. James disabled it, just like he sabotaged Michael's climbing gear." The room tilted. "What are you talking about?" Diana pulled out a tablet, protected in a waterproof case. 3 days ago, James took out a $5 million life insurance policy on you and the twins. Double indemnity for accidental death. She swiped through documents on the screen, just like he did with Michael and me last month. "That's impossible," I protested. "Those policies require medical exams, paperwork." "Not when you own the insurance company," Diana said grimly. "James has been falsifying policies for years, targeting wealthy clients, creating fake medical records, then arranging accidents. Michael discovered the scheme last month. That's why James killed him." Emma whimpered and I held her tighter. "No, James wouldn't. He loves us. Like he loved his first family." Diana's voice was gentle but firm. "The ones who died in a suspicious house fire 6 years ago. The case was ruled an accident. The insurance payout was $3 million. My legs went weak. I sank onto the threadbare couch as memories flooded back. James's insistence on this remote location, the way he'd made sure I packed our life insurance documents just in case. The strange phone call I'd overheard last week. It has to look natural, like the last time. "How did you find us?" I managed. "Michael left me everything, including access to the company's GPS tracking system. James doesn't know we can track every company vehicle, including the one he disabled to strand you here." A particularly strong gust rattled the windows. Both twins cried now, picking up on my fear. "We need to leave," Diana said urgently. "James will be back soon, and he won't be alone. The man who helped him stage Michael's accident, he's coming too. They're going to make it look like you got lost in the storm trying to find help." "But the roads," I looked out at the swirling snow. "I have a snowmobile hidden half a mile down the mountain, but we have to go now. The storm's getting worse, and James has a 2-hour head start." As if on cue, my phone suddenly caught a single bar of service. A text from James appeared. "Sorry, baby. Roads are blocked. Staying at Ranger Station tonight. Keep warm. Love you." Diana read it over my shoulder. "The Ranger Station closed last week for renovations." He's lying. With trembling hands, I started packing the twins' warmest clothes. "Why are you helping us?" "Because I couldn't save Michael," Diana's voice cracked. "But I can save you. And then we're going to take down James and everyone involved in his scheme. Another text came through. Check the back storage room. Should be more formula there. Diana grabbed my arm. Don't. That room has no windows and only one door. It's where they plan to. She didn't need to finish. I could picture it all too clearly. Us found days later. Hypothermia the official cause. James playing the grieving husband while collecting millions. How long do we have? I asked, wrapping Emma in every layer I could find. 20 minutes, maybe less. The storm works in our favor. They'll have to approach slowly. As I bundled Ethan into his warmest sleeper, a headlight swept across the cabin windows. Diana immediately killed the lights. Back door, she whispered. Now. I grabbed the baby's diaper bag and followed her through the dark cabin. Behind us, I heard the crunch of tires on snow. Sophie? James's voice called from the front of the cabin. Baby, are you awake? I brought help. Diana eased the back door open. The wind hit us like a physical force, and the twins began to wail. Sophie? James's voice sharpened. Is someone there with you? Run, Diana mouthed, taking Ethan from my arms. As we plunged into the storm, I heard the cabin's front door crash open. James's voice carried on the wind. The back door's open. Find them. Through the swirling snow, Diana led us into the darkness, away from the man I trusted with my life, and toward a truth even colder than the mountain air. The snow whipped around us as Diana led the way through the darkness, her small flashlight barely cutting through the white curtain of the blizzard. The twins, bundled against my chest in a makeshift sling, had mercifully fallen quiet, perhaps sensing the desperation of our flight. There, Diana pointed to a dark shape beneath a tarp. The snowmobile. Behind us, flashlight beams pierced the storm, accompanied by James's voice. Sophie, don't listen to her. Diana's unstable. She blamed me for Michael's death. Keep moving, Diana urged, yanking the tarp away. He's trying to make you doubt everything. Suddenly, a gunshot cracked through the howling wind. Snow exploded from a tree trunk inches from my head. That wasn't a warning shot, Diana said grimly, starting the snowmobile. He's not even pretending anymore. I climbed on behind her, clutching the twins with one arm and holding onto her with the other. The engine roared to life just as another shot rang out. Stop, James's voice was closer now. Sophie, think about the children. I'm thinking about them, I whispered, though the wind swallowed my words. Diana gunned the engine, and we lurched forward into the storm. Through the swirling snow, I caught a glimpse of James's face in the darkness, not the loving husband I thought I knew, but a stranger's cold, calculating expression. There's a safe house 3 miles down the mountain, Diana shouted over the engine. We just have tow. Headlights suddenly blazed ahead of us. A black SUV blocked the narrow trail. Diana swerved hard, taking us into the trees. Branches whipped past as we weaved through the forest, the snowmobile bouncing over hidden obstacles. The twins began crying again, their wails mixing with the howl of the wind. He's got someone at every access road, Diana called back, but they don't know about the old mining trail. We burst into a small clearing just as another shot rang out. The snowmobile's engine sputtered and died. Run, Diana grabbed the emergency pack. The trail's just ahead. We plunged into the trees on foot, the deep snow making each step a struggle. Behind us, voices shouted through the darkness. They're heading for the ravine. Cut them off at the bridge. Don't let them reach the main road. Diana pulled me behind a massive pine, both of us breathing hard. The twins, exhausted, had fallen into an uneasy sleep. Listen carefully, Diana whispered, pulling out her phone. There's no signal, but I recorded everything. The evidence against James, the insurance scams, Michael's murder. It's all here. If anything happens to me, take the blue trail down to Miller's Creek. My contact at the FBI will be waiting. What do you mean, if anything happens? We're staying together. Diana's eyes softened. Sophie, I worked at the company for 10 years. I watched James destroy dozens of lives. He won't stop until... A twig snapped nearby. Diana shoved her phone into my coat pocket. Well, James emerged from the swirling snow, a pistol aimed at us. The grieving widow and the loving wife working together. How poetic. It's over, James. Diana stood slowly. The FBI has everything. No, they have theories. James's smile was terrible in the darkness. What they'll find tomorrow is tragic but simple. A distraught widow, obsessed with conspiracy theories, kidnapped an innocent family and drove them to their deaths in a snowstorm. Nobody will believe that, I said, finding my voice. They believed Michael's death was an accident. They believed the house fire that killed Karen and the kids was faulty wiring. They'll believe this too. A second man appeared from the trees, tall, scared, professional looking. We need to finish this, James. Storm's getting worse. You're right, Carter. James kept the gun steady. Sophie, give me the twins. You don't want them to suffer in the cold. Like you cared about that when you stranded us, I spat. I did care. Quick, painless, that was the plan. But now, he gestured with the gun. Now it has to look like a struggle. Diana shifted, putting herself between James and me. Run, she whispered. Don't, James warned. But Diana was already moving, tackling him into the snow. The gun went off, once, twice. Carter lunged for me, but Diana's sacrifice gave me the moment I needed. I ran. Through the trees, down the slope, my lungs burning with frozen air. The twins, miraculously, stayed quiet. Behind me, shouts and another gunshot echoed through the storm. The old mining trail appeared ahead, a narrow path along a steep drop. In summer, it would be dangerous. In this storm, it was nearly suicidal. But James's voice carried on the wind. Find them, they're heading for the bridge. I had no choice. Hugging the rock face, I inched along the trail, trying not to think about the drop just inches away. The twins stirred against my chest, and I hummed softly, praying they'd stay quiet. Suddenly, headlights appeared ahead, not on the trail, but on the main road far below. Red and blue lights pulsed through the storm. Diana's FBI contact. They'd come early. We just had to reach them. The bridge came into view, a rickety wooden structure spanning a deep gorge. Beyond it, the trail descended to the main road. Sophie, James's voice, much closer now. Don't make me shoot. I stepped onto the bridge. The ancient wood creaked beneath my feet. The bridge swayed in the howling wind as I took another careful step. The twins stirred against my chest, and I could hear James's footsteps on the creaking wood behind me. That's far enough, he called. Turn around, Sophie. I did, seeing him clearly for the first time since this nightmare began. Snow dusted his shoulders and blood, Diana's blood, stained his coat sleeve. The gun in his hand never wavered. Where's Diana? I asked, already knowing the answer. She chose her ending, he said coldly, just like Michael did, just like Karen and the kids did 6 years ago. They didn't choose anything, I said, my voice stronger than I felt. You murdered them all. The bridge groaned as James took another step forward. Insurance is about managing risks, Sophie. Some risks are worth taking. Like murdering babies, I clutched the twins tighter. Your own children. Something flickered in his eyes, not remorse, but annoyance at being questioned. Business is business. Now, give me the twins and step over the railing. Why? So you can tell everyone I went crazy with grief and jumped. It's a better story than the truth. He gestured with the gun. The devoted husband, left to raise 2 babies alone after his poor wife's tragic suicide. Very sympathetic, very profitable. A wooden plank cracked under his next step. The whole bridge shuddered. You won't shoot, I said, praying I was right. The noise would attract attention, and bullets would leave evidence. Smart girl, he smiled coldly. That's why it has to look like an accident, like all the others. The wind picked up, making the bridge sway dangerously. Below, police lights glowed closer on the mountain road. They're coming for you, James, I said. Diana made sure of that. Diana's dead, he snapped, and you're about to join her. He lunged forward, but the damaged plank finally gave way. James stumbled, the gun flying from his hand into the darkness below. He grabbed a rope railing, dangling half over the abyss. Sophie, he gasped, reaching toward me. Help me up. Please. For the kids. I looked at his outstretched hand, the hand that had caressed my face, held our babies, and probably strangled the life from his first wife. Goodbye, James. I turned and ran for the far side of the bridge. Behind me, I heard wood splintering, a scream, then nothing but the wind. The FBI found us an hour later, huddled in a park ranger's cabin. Diana had survived, barely. Her recorded evidence, combined with what they uncovered in James's private files, exposed everything. Dozens of murdered clients, millions in fraudulent policies, a network of corrupt officials who'd helped cover it all up. 1 year later, I sat in another cabin, this one warm and safe, watching the twins play with Diana's daughter, Rose. Diana had adopted her 3 months ago, giving Michael's child the family he'd died trying to protect. The last of James' accomplices was sentenced today, Diana said, joining me by the window. Carter took a plea deal, 25 years. And the money? Being returned to the victims' families, she smiled sadly. It won't bring anyone back, but at least their children will be taken care of. Outside, snow was falling again, but gently this time. No storms, no darkness, no fear. Do you ever wonder, I asked quietly, if we could have seen it sooner? The signs? Diana watched her daughter laughing with the twins. Monsters like James succeed because they're good at wearing masks. The real question is what we do once we see behind them. I thought about that night on the bridge, about choices and consequences. James's body had never been found, but I didn't fear him anymore. We had exposed his true face to the world, and no mask could ever hide it again. We survive, I said finally. We protect each other, and we make sure our children know the difference between real love and pretty lies. Diana squeezed my hand as we watched our children play. 3 survivors of a storm that had tried to claim them, now safe in the warmth of a truth hard won, but finally free.